Good evening, Central New York Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis here. The National Weather Service in Albany has issued a tornado warning for central Herkimer County until 7:15. So our protocol here is that we're going to stay on television until this warning is expired. So we will be on the air until 7:15, and we're focused in on the central part of Herkimer County. What's happened in the past 15 minutes or so is that this line has started to twist and it's starting to produce rotation. So this warning is Doppler indicated only for this part of Herkimer County. First, let me show you the warning area. And I want to be very specific here. This does not include many areas in the Mohawk Valley. Herkimer, Little Falls, Salisbury, you're south of the tornado warning. This red box indicates the area in the tornado warning: Newport, Arietta, Morehouse, the Route 8 corridor. These places were hit pretty hard with thunderstorms earlier today. And again, this is where we see the tornado warning. The tornado warning is in effect until 7:15. And again, this is Doppler indicated rotation. What I'm going to do here is put a storm track on the line that we're tracking here and give you an idea of where this is headed. Again, this tornado warning is going to be in effect until 7:15, and the rotation with this storm will be passing just south of Route 8 and making a close call towards Hofmeister at 7:32. Where this storm is rotating, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the velocity mode and show you the specific area. This area of rotation is often a sign of a possible tornado. It's over Gray, and again, it's going to be moving very quickly across Herkimer County. I want to make a couple of things very clear. First of all, a tornado warning means we need to treat it as if it is happening, even though we're not 100% sure, because by the time we get that information, it'll be too late. It's very difficult to spot tornadoes in our topography. And the second part of this is that this is Doppler indicated rotation. So again, what you want to do here, the call to action in this area, is you want to get into the basement. If you don't have a basement, you want to get into the center of your home on the lowest floor, and you want to stay away from windows. Again, the protocol here is get indoors while this line is rolling through. If you live in this part of Herkimer County, again, this tornado warning in effect until 7:15. We're going to stay on the air. We're going to cover this until the danger is over for our area. A couple of other things to note here. We will, first of all, switch back to the radar and show you that this is part of a very strong complex of thunderstorms moving through the area. And a lot of times what happens with these lines is they can often produce a brief tornado touchdown. And so the way that we look at this in the world of meteorology is we see the rotation there, and that indicates a possibility of a tornado on the ground. So to recap here, if you're just joining us, if you've got the alert on your cell phone, there's a tornado warning for central Herkimer County until 7:15. These are the areas that are impacted: Newport. This would be Morehouse. We'll get an even closer look here, pointing out some of the roadways that are in this zone. Gray, Ohio. Again, these are areas underneath this tornado warning. This doesn't quite extend to Lake Pleasant yet, but we will be keeping an eye on it, because if this rotation continues, that may be the next place to be impacted. Again, this is Doppler indicated only, so we don't know if this is on the ground or not at the moment. And again, the point of the warning, the reason why we're on the air, is to give you a heads up. There is the possibility of a tornado on the ground based on rotation being spotted on the radar. Let's put a storm track on this, and just looking at some things behind the scenes here. In addition to the tornado warning, this thunderstorm that's moving through the region is capable of producing up to 70-mile-an-hour winds. So even the areas that are not underneath that tornado warning could still be seeing some pretty strong and gusty winds here. I'm going to switch over to the velocity mode, and this just helps us try to spot the specific area of rotation. And I'm going to be moving the map around here because what I'm trying to do is get different perspectives from different radar sites that we have. And from what I can tell, you're looking at broad rotation. What I'm looking at here are some of these bright colors on the radar. This would be indicating rotation. When you see red and green next to each other, that's a sign of rotation. And specifically, this looks at broad scale rotation in this particular zone. So what zone are we talking about here? This would be Route 8 between Coldbrook and Ohio is where the rotation is at the moment, right over Gray. And as we put a storm track on this, if this were to hold together and continue to the northeast, these are the locations that the rotation would be under: Bull Hill 701 and Hoffmeister at 732. Again, when there's a tornado warning in effect for your area, these are the things that you're going to want to do. You're going to want to get into the basement, the center of the home, if you don't have a basement, on the lowest floor. The idea here is that you want to put as many things between you and the outside as possible if you don't have the basement. So it's usually the interior room, such as a closet or a bathroom or an interior bedroom. Again, the idea here is the more things between you and the outside, the better. And again, that's the call to action if you live in this area. I'll give a couple of all clears. Newport, you're in the clear here. The rotation is now passed to your east. And so the storm is moving away from your location. We're getting new radar scans here, and we're going to stay on television until this warning either expires or is discontinued. This tornado warning in effect until 7:15 for Herkimer County. The northern part of Herkimer County, this does not include Old Forge. This does not include the Mohawk Valley. This does not include Herkimer, Manheim, Columbia, or any places to the south. This tornado warning is Doppler indicated. Doppler indicated tornado warnings are based on rotation in the storm. So when we're looking at the Doppler radar and we're seeing a lot of spin, there's a correlation between spin versus what is on the ground. And the problem here is that we're not going to get the information that we really need to confirm this until after the fact. If there is a tornado on the ground, the odds are we're not going to get those reports of wind damage until later on. So it's our job here to give you the heads up, to give you the call to action to get inside, get indoors if you live in this part of Herkimer County. The rotation with this storm is going to pass near or just south of Route 8 in many areas that have already seen some pretty strong weather earlier today. And again, we're talking about the Route 8 corridor heading east of Coldbrook. So Nobleboro is in the path of this, Hoffmeister in the path of this tornado warning. And again, you're going to want to get to shelter here. Just going to switch over to our tower cam, and I don't think we're going to have a great view of this, but I'm going to ask the director in the back to go ahead and try to turn the tower cam towards the Mohawk Valley, so to the left of where it is right now. It's possible that we probably won't be able to see this, but we're going to try anyway. There's a lot of rain here on Smith Hill, but if the rain can clear, we may be trying to see the backside of this storm. And so since we don't have any ground reports at the moment, we're going to try and do this ourselves here and see if we can see anything, if we can see any lowering or anything that is of concern here. And again, I'm going to switch over to show you what we're looking at right now. Again, with that tower cam pointed towards the storm. Of course, we've got a lot of rain here, so our visibility is obscured from our location. So that's not going to work, but we tried it anyway. So we're on television right now to let you know that there is a tornado warning for a rotating storm for Herkimer County until 7:15, and we're going to stay on television until the warning or the threat of a tornado is over. We are talking about a very specific part of this thunderstorm line, and the rotation with it is moving along and just south of the Route 8 corridor heading into Hamilton County. So again, if you're in these areas, I'll go ahead and change the view over to highlight the warning area. These are the spots underneath the warning. If you got an emergency alert on your phone, they're sent to these warning areas. So Morehouse, you're in that tornado warning. Arietta, Ohio, Coldbrook, and Newport are in the warning at the moment. But I can give you an all clear in Newport. The rotation is now to your east. So let's go ahead and give you the latest radar data, and let's see how this storm has been evolving over the past couple of scans. Again, showing some rotation here, very strong storm, likely producing lots of wind damage with it. The leading edge of that line is very likely producing some gusty winds. We saw that when it came through our television station before it really strengthened. So again, even if you're not in the center of that rotation, there's still going to be wind with this. But what we really watch for and what we really try to highlight here is the circulation of this storm. And so I'm switching over to what we call velocity mode, and it helps me get an idea of what specific areas that we're trying to highlight here. Of course, anybody in the red zone needs to take shelter unless the storm is passed to your east. Again, Newport, you're okay. But what I'm seeing here, and I'm going to move this around and get different perspectives from different radar sites in our area, and it gives me an idea of what specific spots that we're looking at, and it's right here. So there's broad circulation here that's being detected by the Doppler radar, and whenever the radar does that, there's multiple reasons why a tornado warning is issued, and I want to just show you a couple of them. Why is there a tornado warning? Well, either somebody spotted one and we have confirmation of that. That's not the case. This is Doppler indicated rotation. Sometimes the radar can detect debris inside of the storm. I'm going to try and switch it over and see if we can see any. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to, but it's worth maybe trying to take a look anyway. So give me just a second. This is going to be a little complicated here, but what I'm looking for is any sort of debris signature, and I don't see that, so that's really good news. Doesn't necessarily mean we're in the clear, but it's one thing, the arsenal of tools that we're trained as meteorologists to do, to be able to see that. So getting some information from the National Weather Service out of Albany. They're going to continue the tornado warning until 7:15. This is still Doppler indicated only. So there's a lot of rotation here. The rotation is consistent over the past couple of about 15 minutes or so. The rotation really hasn't changed too much. But again, there's no confirmation of this actually being on the ground. We still need to treat it like there is one on the ground because of what we're seeing here on the radar. So if you're just joining us, if you're wondering what this is all about, tornado warning for central Herkimer County, Hamilton County. This also does include northern Fulton County, this very small sliver of northern Fulton County, until 7:15. We'll be on the air for the next 10 minutes here and go through this entire event with you. If you're underneath this tornado warning, these are the things that I want you to do. I want you to get into the basement. We do occasionally get tornadoes around here. We're not immune from them. They can happen. Best place to be is a basement. If you don't have a basement, the center of your home, the lowest floor, that will do as well. You want to put as many things between you and the outside as possible. So the more structures, the more walls between you and the outside, the better. And you want to stay away from windows. That's mainly due to wind. If we do get any wind damage, it is possible that could injure you being close to windows. So these are the things that we want you to do if you are in this specific area that is seeing this possible tornado. Just give me a second here. I'm looking at some newest information and seeing if there's anything worth passing along on television. Okay, so far I don't have anything new. Just mine to double check to make sure that we're not missing anything. Okay, so as we've gone along, you've noticed that the Weather Service has changed the warning, has discontinued the warning for parts of Herkimer County. Newport is now not in the warning. Ohio, you're in the clear. Gray, you are barely in the clear. The warning continues for Hamilton County, Morehouse, Arietta, the eastern part of central Herkimer County. just north of Stratford, Knappville. This is also including parts of Fulton County as well. Let's switch over to the radar, and again, it's worth stressing that just because, certain areas are not underneath the rotation, there's still going to be a lot of wind as this storm moves through the Adirondacks and moves north of the Mohawk Valley this evening. So there's likely going to be up to 60 to 70 mile an hour winds with this. But again, the big focus of what we're doing tonight, what we're really paying most attention to, is the possibility of a tornado. And again, this is based on the rotation of the Doppler radar. And we are seeing broad rotation being detected on the radar. Broad rotation means that the rotation is wide. But one of the problems here with radar, one of the limitations of radar, is that because we have radar sites that are not located in the storm, you can see the different radar sites, those lines that are moving across your screen. There's 3 different radars that we're using to track this storm. The radar beam is about a half a degree above the horizon when it's being pushed out into the storm. And so when you're far enough away from the storm, from the Doppler radar site, you're looking higher into the storm. So we're looking at a couple thousand feet into the cloud here. We're not able to get images or data from the surface. And that's really important because without being able to see information at the surface, there's no way to tell if there's actually a tornado on the ground. So what we do is we look at the rotation, we look at the spin in the storm, and we correlate that. When the winds are spinning fast enough, there is a likelihood, or at least there's a reasonable chance, that there is a tornado warning, or there is a tornado on the ground. We have to treat it like it is. And so if there's a tornado warning, you're going to want to seek shelter, you're going to want to get indoors and take this pretty seriously until the threat passes. And then after the fact, once this storm's through, we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to go check this out and see if one actually happened. But again, there's a delay in information. And even in 2021, with cell phones and the internet, it still takes time to get this information. And we won't get this until after it's done. So again, the idea here is that if you're in this tornado warning, you're going to want to take shelter. You're going to want to get inside. And again, this is for the central and northern sections of Fulton, Herkimer, and southern Hamilton County. You can also notice the radar is showing some circulation. You'll notice we have storm icons that show up as well. This is just telling us that there's still broad scale rotation that's happening in the storm. And so therefore, the storm is maintaining its intensity. And this has been quite the storm for this part of the area. We also do have other weather that's taking place as well. So if you live south of the valley, you are getting some thunderstorms, you're getting some wind. But again, our primary focus is on the most life-threatening, or potentially the most life-threatening situation in our area. And again, we are covering this tornado warning for the next 5 minutes. Again, looking at the wind velocity scans, there's still a pretty strong signature here. And if anything, I would argue that the signature has gotten a little bit stronger and it's become a little bit south. So this particular spot is a little bit south of the southern end of this warning spot. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is what we're looking at here. You can see some of the brightest greens. So the way that this works is this is called the velocity scan, and anytime you see a green color, it indicates that wind is moving towards the radar site. Red indicates that wind is moving away from the radar site, and it's a way of showing circulation. This is what the whole warning is based on, the fact that there's a very small, very fast-moving area inside of that thunderstorm, and coupling that area of wind, overlapping that with the information that we're seeing from the reflectivity, this coincides with the possibility of a tornado. So again, bottom line is, if you live in this area, Arietta, Morehouse, you're going to want to get into shelter. You're going to want to get inside. We are tracking a rotating storm that has the possibility of producing a tornado. We don't know if it's on the ground at the moment, but the storm is rotating. It's strong. And again, this is the call to action. You want to get into the basement You want to get into the center of your home on the lowest floor, and you want to stay away from windows. Again, the idea behind that is there's wind that's going to come through with this. Even if it's not tornadic, there could still be very strong winds. And again, being near windows, sometimes damage can happen. You can get injured that way. So if you don't have a basement, again, center of your home, lowest floor, as many things between you and the outside as possible is a general rule. So again, this tornado warning is in effect until 7:15, so we've got 3 minutes left for this warning. I don't want to put any words in the Weather Service's mouth, but it does appear that they are going to let this expire, and I'm going to wait just a minute here just to confirm that, because if that's the case, then that's going to be really good news here. So let's just give this 1 minute here and make sure that this indeed is over. Okay, so it will expire at 7:15. So the Weather Service is going to expire this in the next 2 minutes. All right, so we will be on the air for the next minute and a half because the warning will expire at 7:15. We'll give them 2 minutes to decide if they want to continue this, but it does look like the warning will be expiring here shortly. While we're waiting on the Weather Service here, let me just give you the bigger picture. The strongest part of the storm has been what we've been focusing on for the past 20 minutes or so. There's also stronger storms moving into the southern part of the area. There's a severe thunderstorm warning for Otsego County, for Cooperstown, for Edmonston, Morris, Milford, from storms that are moving in. That's still producing some pretty strong winds up to 60 miles an hour. Outside of that tornado warning, there's still some strong weather that is moving into Salisbury, Manheim, and just north of the Mohawk Valley that still has the potential of producing wind damage. The storms moving into the rest of Hamilton County, again, same idea. While they're not underneath that tornado warning and that rotation, there's still the possibility of damaging winds here. And the strongest part of the storm for sure is in that red box underneath that tornado warning. That's where we're seeing the strongest winds, and we're seeing the rotation there. And so bottom line is you're going to want to be inside while this thing moves through, regardless, just for safety purposes, again, while these strong winds are moving through the area. Once this clears, once this line moves through, we're done. We're not expecting any more severe weather for the rest of this evening, and we're going to be in good shape as we go forward. So as we wait for the last remaining seconds here, if we do get any more developing pieces of information, then we will continue to pass along any updates here. And again, with the tornado warning expiring, we are going to go back to regular programming.